Well, good morning, everybody. This is we are here for the Central Region Hearing Board meeting. And I will ask our new clerk, our temporary clerk, to call the roll here, please.
All right. So Dr. Goodwin, Mr. Mulligan.
Here.
Mr. Saldani.
Here.
Mr. Robertson.
Here.
And Mr. Hartwig.
Here.
All right. Through to the chair, we have a quorum.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. We'll move on then to the consent items here, items 9 through 12. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes, and are there any revisions to that? Seeing that, is there any public comment regarding minutes? I see nobody unmuting.
No indication of public comment.
All right, thank you so much. So with that, I'll accept a motion if anybody's willing to make one to approve the consent items 9 through 12.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Andy. All right, so if you call the roll on that, please, Stephanie.
All right. Dr. Goodwin, Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mr. Saldani.
Aye.
Sorry. Mr. Robertson.
Aye.
Mr. Hartwig.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Through
you.
the chair, the motion passes.
Thank you so much. That moves us on to number 4. We'll open the public hearing here. And with that in mind, I will ask any witnesses who intend to testify today to please stand or at least pretend to stand, since I can't see your legs on Zoom, to stand, raise your right hand so that the board may swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do.
All right, thank you. That actually goes for the petitioners as well. I don't know if the petitioners, if I was clear on that as well, if they were planning to testify. So I see we have Mr. Martinez as well, and Mr. and Mrs. Body, if they would also be sworn in as well, or give an indication that they. Thank you.
yes. Mr. Martinez is with the facility. I think the other Lindsay is a staff member here, I think, just observing.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
I am. I'm assisting with the meeting. I apologize.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure we had everybody sworn in to make sure we were kind of covering our bases there. So thank you, guys. All right, with that, then we'll we'll move to the next item here, which is docket C-22-02 S, short variance for Penoche Energy Center LLC. And I will call the matter and ask for so we've had a brief introduction to Mr. Martinez, but if he could introduce himself again, please, and then we'll turn the matter over to staff. So, Mr. Martinez, could you just introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, my apologies. I was unmuting. Vicente Martinez with Penoche Energy Center. Kathy Hurst was supposed to represent, but I will, if she's unable, I'll represent. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Shannon, I'm assuming you're our staffer on this one.
That's correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Good morning. My name's Shannon Moore. I'm an air quality specialist here at the district. And before you this morning is Penoche Energy Center LLC. They operate a simple cycle peak demand power generating facility consisting of 4 General Electric LMS 100 natural gas fired combustion turbine generators. The facility has a power purchase agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric, and the plant is dispatched solely at PG&E's direction. The exhaust gas from each turbine is routed through individual stacks, and each turbine unit controls emissions by utilizing water injection to the combustors, a selective catalytic reduction system with ammonia injection, and an oxidation catalyst. District rules and facility permit conditions require them to certify, maintain, operate, and quality assure a continuous emissions monitoring system designed to continuously measure and record NOx, CO, and O2 concentrations of the exhaust gas. In previous years, during their annual relative accuracy test audits, the facility observed NOx stratification in the exhaust stacks. In order to mitigate the impacts of NOx stratification and collect more representative stack gas samples, They determined it was necessary to replace the existing single point sample probes with all four combustion turbines, or on all four combustion turbines with multi-point sample probes. On February 8th, 2021, Pinoche Energy Center petitioned for and your board approved a short variance allowing them to install new multi-point probes in each of the four combustion turbine units. The facility successfully installed new probes on turbines 2, 3, and 4. However, the multi-point probe for turbine 1 was inadvertently damaged and could not be installed in time for the 2021 RATA. Therefore, the facility determined deferred replacement of the final probe to coincide with the 2022 RATA, which they plan to complete in May of this year. Once the final probe is installed, the facility will calibrate the SIMS and begin collecting data. However, the SIMS data will not be valid until they complete testing and certification of the system with the new probe installed. Therefore, Pinoche Energy Center has requested a short variance from requirements of the applicable district rules. In addition to conditions of the applicable permits, the requested short variance would be from May 9th, 2022 through June 6th, 2022. If granted, the variance would allow Pinoche Energy Center LLC to operate combustion turbine 1 without a certified SIMS while the sample probe is replaced and the SIMS is certified with the new probe. During the variance period, the emissions control equipment will continue to operate and the facility will monitor and log all operating data in order to demonstrate compliance with the emissions limits of their permit. No excess emissions are expected to occur during the variance. The district believes the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Pinoche Energy Center LLC be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 3, 4, and 5. And that concludes the district's presentation.
Thanks, Shannon. And I think, Stephanie, did you know, maybe we should note that Dr. Goodwin joined as well before we called this matter as well.
Yes, noted. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also see that Ms. Hurst has joined as well from the facility. So with that, then is there any comments or anything like that from Pinoche Energy Center? Are there any comments or anything you'd like to add? Any presentation you'd like to make this time?
I think the only thing, so I'm so sorry, I was joining in as a participant, not a panelist. So we primarily use Teams, so not fluid in this, and I apologize. So the only thing I would add is that, you know, we were able to replace the single point with a multi-point probe on 3 of our other turbines last year. And it has proven to be improvements in our measurement accuracy. So it was a successful project. So now we're just trying to finish the replacement for turbine 1. So I think that's the only thing I'd like to add.
Thank you. And Annette, real quick, just as a point for you, I don't think we swore Kathy in as well. Do we need to swear her in if she's going to bring testimony here today?
Yes, witnesses who testify and speak on a matter must be sworn in.
Okay, so just Kathy, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you've just given in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All right, so now this is a really legalistic meeting here, Annette. Thank you. You know, I'm glad you're here. So we got all these little technicalities here, but perfect. Is there anything else that you guys like to add from that facility side at all? If not, then I'll ask staff then if anybody has anything to add. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I would like an explanation of what NOx stratification is. If it's just a faulty reading, or if it's, you know, just a quick description would be helpful for me.
Yeah, so normally a single point probe is only collecting data during a source test or during the RATA from one point in the stack. And what often occurs during or in an exhaust stack is that the exhaust will stratify in terms, I mean, it kind of tends to hug either the sides of the stack or flow up the middle. And so if you're only getting one sample, you may be getting either a sample that is not representative of the whole exhaust that's flowing through the stack. You're only getting one point, which could show either high levels of NOx or low levels of NOx. in that one area, depending on how the stratification occurs. And so a multi-point probe is allowing them to collect those samples from multiple areas in the stack, which is more representative of how the actual exhaust is flowing through the stack.
Thank you, Shannon. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions from board members? Andy?
Yeah, so this one is more for district staff. I know there's a Part 75 plant, and Part 75 does allow for when you relocate the probe or put in a different probe that you can do a probationary calibration error test. And assuming that's successful, then all SEMS data is conditionally certified until you complete certification testing. And if you complete the certification testing, it all passes. All that prior data from the start of that probationary calibration error test is certified. So I'm not quite sure what the justification here is for the variance or what's driving it.
Yeah, there'll be a limited time between the, well, assuming a base load, I know I think they're, Kathy, are you guys peaker out there or is it a base load?
Yeah, we're peakers.
Okay.
And the peakers are subject to both Part 60 and Part 75. Sorry, Patrick, do you want me to? You can take.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to answer, I could.
Okay, and so the Part 7, you're correct. Part 75 allows for the probationary cal, and we will do that as soon as the unit is first started up. And so theoretically, we would only have maybe 1 or 2 hours of operational time where the SEMS data is considered quote unquote invalid. The probationary cal, if you pass all of your other certification tests, then all of the data is good until the last certification test is completed. So if we were purely Part 75, only working with the EPA acid rain program, that would be acceptable to certify the data. But the plant is also subject to 40 CFR Part 60 Quad K. Part 60 doesn't really have rules associated with recertification. So it's providing us protection underneath Part 60 until we complete all of those other tests that are required to be conducted while the unit is operating. And then we'll be able to work with the district to indicate, do we want to validate the data for the Part 60 requirements in accordance with Part 75 or invalidate it all. I mean, also remember the Part 75 only covers one pollutant where we have, which is NOx. We also have a CO monitor for carbon monoxide. And so it's providing coverage for both program specifications and testing requirements. The last time that we did this last year, we did have very limited data that was invalidated for the reason that the probationary cal was acceptable to validate all data. But we'll have to work with the district on whether or not that's an option for this particular replacement. Does that answer?
Yes, thank you.
And if I could add, Mr. Robinson, if you look at finding 6, we do kind of discuss that after that preliminary calibration, you know, the evidence will be credible evidence once it's fully certified. Furthermore, too, most facility permits with regards to SIMS do have a condition on that says that the SIMS shall be certified at all times. And so this would give them protection from that condition on their permit as well.
Yeah, so we're looking at potentially very limited number of hours where the data would be considered invalid.
Yes.
Okay. And then the recertification tests, obviously a RADA calibration error, you're going to do a cycle time test as well?
Yes.
Okay. What's the % RADA right now on CT1? What's it been running?
That's a really good question. So, I'd have to look at the last year's RADA report. And if you give me a second, I can pull that right up.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that. And then what improvement you've seen? You mentioned that it made things better on CTs 2, 3, and 4. I'd like to know what improvement you got.
Okay, so last year for RADA 1, Excuse me. Final reports. I thought somebody might ask that question, and I'm feeling a little remiss that I didn't go back and get ready for that question. So.
We appreciate you looking it up.
Okay, so the relative accuracy last year for NOx was 11.7. And the criteria is that you have to be less than 20%, and we were at 11. And then carbon monoxide was 3.3. We were less than the criteria of 5. So we're meeting our RADA specifications now. To further look at another unit where the probe was replaced. Next table. So NOx was at 7 and carbon monoxide was at 2. Let's look at another unit. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so another unit that we were down at 9, and the criteria is 20. So we did make some improvements. And these are all point in time measurements. And historically, we've seen that number vary, which is normal.
Right.
And we've been very close to the 20%. And in a couple of cases in 2019, we were actually over. So we did fail the RADA testing a couple of years ago on 2 of our units. So it's important for us to get ahead of it to try to gain some accuracy in advance of running into that problem again.
Okay. And it sounds like you got improvement on the CO RADAs as well.
Yes,
Right.
we did.
Okay.
Sorry about the phone in the background. There's nothing I can do about it.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Are there any
that's
other?
all I have.
Yeah. Are there any other questions here from board members? All right. I think with that, then let me ask if there's any public comment then on this matter.
And we have no indication of public comment.
Appreciate that. Thank you then. So with that, I'll entertain a motion if anybody's willing to make one here. Go ahead, Andy.
Okay.
I'll move.
I move to approve Pinochi Energy Center LLC's petition for a short variance set forth in docket number C-22-02S with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference as set forth in the staff report. The variance shall be effective for the period from May 9th, 2022 through June 6th, 2022, or until the SEMS is certified, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to the conditions on pages 3 to 6 of the staff report.
Thank you, Andy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, thanks, Dr. Goodwin.
Oh.
All right, with that, then I'll ask the clerk to call for a roll call.
Okay. Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mr. Saldani,
Aye.
Mr. Robertson,
Yes.
and Mr. Hartwig.
Yes,
Through the chair, motion passes.
thank you very much. All right, you guys are good to go. And with that, then we'll move on to item number 5, which is public comment. I'm assuming we doesn't seem like we have any members of the public that wish to comment, but I'll ask that to make sure.
We have no indication of public comment.
Thank you. Move on then to item 6, hearing board member comments. Are there any comments from members of our fair board here today?
I'd like to say good questions because I was learned some things today. So appreciate that.
Yeah, that was interesting. So thank you guys for the good questions today. All right, then move on to item number 7, new business. I don't see any there, but maybe Annette, can you give us an update real quick if it's possible on just, I mean, the meeting situation in terms of it's virtual or in person going forward? Is there any update on that at all?
Right, so pursuant to AB 361, the governing board has to review every 30 days whether to continue to allow virtual attendance for public meetings such as this. The governing board meeting that's scheduled for tomorrow, the staff recommendation is to again renew the next 30 days. So it's decided in 30-day increments. So we're still in a, you know, as far as public meetings go, still in a virtual environment. Based and the determination is based on CDC transmission rates and whether they're high or substantial. And in the San Joaquin Valley, the transmission rates are still high, except for I think San Joaquin Valley, which is the only one that's substantial. And so based upon that transmission rate, the recommendation is to continue to hold public meetings virtually like this. And so we expect that determination will be renewed tomorrow. But then at the meeting in April, you know, we look at it again in April and see, you know, where we're at. So as of now, it's still, you know, this format is going to remain for at least the next 30 days.
Okay, thank you so much for the update. With that, then I think that's everything. I'll move to adjourn. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.